Another quick visual description. I am still in this bedroom with the dog pillow behind me. Very happy to be here with all of you. And this session is about the perks of being a life cycle partner. There's a lot of things that come with our life cycle program, as there should be, because teaching this is new and challenging and different, and we want to make sure that you feel as supported as possible in that work. And so we threw in a lot of perks. Also, our life cycle programs do cost. I'm not sure if that came up in your last sections, but I'll just address it quickly now. We have a sliding scale fee schedule. So depending on the number of students receiving free and reduced lunch at your school, that will sort of put you in a certain column for pricing. So included in the price is not only the curriculum, but all of these other things that we are about to go through tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. And are you seeing my slides, everyone? Yes. Okay, great. So perks of partnership. Probably our best perk, our two best perks are our first two here. First is a program coach. So no matter which program you are running, whether it's primer, STEMpathy, storyteller, you have a dedicated Nora Project staff member who lives to make your life easier. I mean, they love this. When you call them, it like makes their day. They'll check in with you a couple times a year regardless. But when you need them, they will be there, and they will be there enthusiastically. Emily is one of our program coaches, and she'll talk a little bit about program coaching, what it entails, and she'll answer any questions you have. The other major perk of partnership is we have Janie Avant, Dr. Avant here, who is an inclusion specialist. She has decades of special ed experience. I actually presented at a special ed conference with her, and I felt like I was with like Brad Pitt or something, because everybody was like, oh my gosh, Dr. Avant, I want to ask you about this. I have questions about this. She has done it all. She is an authority, very well respected. And we are so, so lucky that she retired and was willing to sort of spend her retirement with us. We really couldn't be any luckier. And so Janie will tell you about the services that she provides. Some of them are built into our programs, but some of them can be customized for the needs of your students. And the other thing that we offer as just a built-in perk is comprehensive training. Our training camp in the past, historically, during non-pandemic times, has been in person, and we've done it over 2 or 3 days, and it's about 20 hours of training. It includes curriculum training, but we also pick a theme for every year and bring in subject matter experts to speak on that theme and train our teachers. This year's theme is centering students' needs, because so many of our students will have needs, whether they're written in an IEP or not, when they come back to school. And so we want experts to come talk about that. So we've already booked a couple of trainers. So in addition to our amazing program team, we will also have Emily Ladow, who has a forthcoming book called Demystifying Disability. And she'll be talking about the impact of the systems on the developing identities of children with disabilities. And I don't want to give too much away, but she is a phenomenal speaker. She runs the organization Rooted in Rights out of Seattle, though she lives in New York City. And so she will be our keynote speaker. We also have some lawyers from Equip for Equality, which is a local disability rights organization here, who will be presenting on student rights and rights-oriented thinking. So we're really excited about that. We have some trainers from Access Living, another local organization that does policy work and other advocacy for people with disabilities. And they will actually be training on educating your students to be self-advocates, all students with and without disabilities. And I'm really looking forward to that as a parent, because it's certainly something I want to instill in my daughter. So at any rate, before I move on to the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Emily to talk about the program coaching.
Hi, I am Emily, and I am the Storyteller Program Director. I have brown curly hair, purple shirt, says the Nora Project, with a gray cardigan. And so if you sign up for the Storyteller Project, I would be your program coach. Every one of our programs, it has a designated program coach, like Lauren said. But I did say in my last session that really any of the Nora Project staff is here to help you, because there is not one of us that wouldn't try to help if we couldn't. But you will have a designated individual to help with your program. And what that looks like is regular communication, and we will be sharing resources with you. We are constantly creating materials, and we don't hold on to those materials until the next school year or the next training camp. We are sharing them with our teachers all throughout the year. I think one of my favorite parts about this role is actually the second bullet point there about the brainstorming and problem solving, because this year, more so than ever before, teachers have had to really flex their creative muscles and try to make everything work in ways they never imagined. And it has been a true privilege to support them through all of that. There have been many, I feel like that's most of my conversations this year is phone calls about, please help me make this work. How is this supposed to make this work? And through those conversations, I'm learning about what I need to do as a program coach to help our teachers and help them really empower them to be creative and problem solve. And so I love that part of it. And we are always here. We don't go away at any point. If you're a Nora Project school and classroom, we are here for you for the duration of our relationship, and possibly beyond, who knows. So we are here to help. And that's not something I experienced in any other curriculum that I ever did, which I think is really unique. Last one on there is, I kind of mentioned, we are always creating materials and adapting what we have. With this can transition into the next one here with the wonderful support of our inclusion specialist. So I will let her talk about her role within the organization.
Thanks, Emily. So my name is Janie Avant, and I'm wearing a peach-colored Nora Project t-shirt to represent the Georgia Peach State where I am. And I'm in my basement / office with our display of bats from all the baseball stadiums we've been to, and my son's trophies from Special Olympics behind me. So my role is probably multifaceted would be a good term. On the front end, I'm working with all of the program coaches, looking at the curriculum, looking for ways to modify or to provide upfront some resources that can be used to make the lessons more inclusive. And that can be making suggestions for how you might do a particular activity if a child has a motor challenge, or if a child is using a vision-based communication system, then I'm trying to provide the reflection journal prompts in a vision-based system, or the activity, a particular activity, they might be creating a chart as a class together, then I'm creating those materials on the front end. And then on the back end, teachers or school systems can call me for specific issues or questions. So for example, there was a school last year here in Georgia, and the teacher had zero experience with any child with a disability, and it was a private school, and those children had zero experience or exposure, and they had been paired with a private school that served children with complex communication needs. So I did a lot of work on the front end, guiding them through how to do these lessons, how to use the materials from Storyteller with children that were using communication systems and also had vision impairments or hearing impairments. How are we going to create these lessons together? So I am available to do that with any classroom or any school to make sure that the lessons can be delivered in the way that best meets the needs of all of the participants. We want it to be a fully inclusive experience. So this year we've shifted the Storyteller in particular program to a fully inclusive curriculum. In the past, Storyteller lessons were directed at the typical peers, who then had interactions with their disabled peers. And this year, the focus is that all of the lessons are delivered to all of the students. So we've had to go in and do a little bit of tweaking with some of the materials to make sure it was going to be accessible for all of the students. But I think the brainstorming piece that Emily mentioned that she really enjoys, I enjoy as well. When somebody calls me and says, well, this student's just not gonna be able to do this. It's not going to benefit them. And I take that as a challenge that, oh yes, it is. And we can figure this out. We can make it work for them.
And, just to add to what Janie and Emily said, is that once the resources are created, they exist for all of our teachers. We are doing our best to anticipate needs up front and learning styles up front and how to incorporate AAC and some of the more, sort of common adaptations that need to be made to curriculum. But of course, that's not life. And there will be kids who need specific accommodations made, or we need to change the curriculum, or we need to add a chart, or we need to add an agenda, or whatever it is. Once those resources are made, they are linked to the program, which is a living document, and they are accessible to anybody with access to our curriculum, which would be any of our partner schools. So it's a living document. As Emily said, we're constantly creating things based on what teachers are telling us that they need. We're also fixing things based on what teachers are telling us isn't working. And I wanted to be super clear about that. We love to hear back from, we don't love it. It always, kind of stings a little, but we're grateful to hear back from teachers when things don't work. And, with an explanation of, what's not landing, or what's not appropriately modified, or, what just isn't hitting the mark. And then we get a chance to redo it and make it work better. And so we are open to all feedback, and that's part of the program coach. And, Janie, we're all sort of in this together. Any questions for Janie or Emily before I move on to the next slide?
It's almost 8:15. I don't know if we have to go.
Oh, wow. We have no more time. Shoot. Okay, Emily, in 1 minute, can you describe points to ponder? Because this is another huge benefit of partnership. Oh, terrible.
Yes. Okay. Points to ponder is, I would sum it up as a 6-lesson transformation for staff. So for the staff to do what we are doing in classrooms, but with the staff, to bring our lessons to the adults in the building, because we thought that was a missing piece prior to this year, thanks to one of our incredible teachers in Georgia who inspired us to.
And the idea there, the way it came up was through this coaching process. This other teacher had mentioned it to Emily, saying, the other teachers in the school don't get what I'm doing. They're not necessarily supportive, or they're really interested and they don't know how to be supportive. I'd love materials to move everyone along. And so that teacher actually created materials of her own. We built on those, and we have this comprehensive program that Emily wrote that comes free, and you can use it for lunch and learns, staff meetings, however you want to do it. But I know we have to go into the next room.
But wait. And there's Katie's doing it as a free webinar in March.
Yes. And we are doing Points to Ponder as a free webinar. So if you want to just get a taste of what the NORA project has to offer and what we're trying to teach adults, you can sign up for the free webinar. And there's a link to do so in the agenda. You'll see it there.